Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this morning I'm looking at a book from Law Society Publishing which I think is of great use to many people practicing in the county court in particular on the subject of consumer credit, law, practice and precedents. This is the book here. It's part of the Legal Handbook series and it's written by Russell Kelsall. I think it's an excellent book. It really does give a great deal to this subject. This is the book itself. There's the back cover, so you get some idea of what it's about. There is a CD, which is very useful. Great indexes at the back. And you've also got a lot of appendices, which you can see there, dealing specifically with quite a lot of the issues concerning consumer credit. The book runs to about just under 400 pages. And of course at the front you've got the contents and the list of appendix, which you've just seen there. And then of course there are some cases. This is an important area of law, especially during the current economic downturn. We've given it a review on the web and in the journals as follows: Consumer Credit and Hire Law, an accessible guide to a complex subject, new from the Law Society. Now we're talking about hire law as well as consumer credit because that is quite often an area for controversy where you cannot get a settlement when you go to the county court. So this book will give you some useful hints on both the law and practice in that area. Once again, the Law Society, and that's Law Society Publishing, have come up trumps with a practical and accessible text designed to guide practitioners, barristers and solicitors alike, of course, through the dense thickets of a particularly complex and technical area of law. It's one that, when you look at it, sometimes you probably want to run rather a long way away from, because you think, oh, this is very complex. But like everything, you get down to general issues between the parties on exactly what the agreements are and how much is actually owed. It's a fast-changing area of law, of course, especially in the wake of the Consumer Credit Act of 2006 and the directive thereafter, which was implemented in February last year, and that's in February 2011. I'm recording this in February 2012. The aim of the text, says Kelsall, is to help practitioners tackle consumer credit. Whilst it may not be an easy topic to grapple with, it's certainly, thanks to this book, more comprehensible, and I fully endorse what he's saying. To smooth the practitioner's path initially, the text starts off on the right foot by defining terms, which is vital, of course, when you're dealing with this matter. In total, there are 8 pages of definitions, which I think is quite useful because you do get bogged down very quickly in some technical wording if you're not careful. There are a great deal of useful points throughout the book, and it's one certainly that I will treasure within my chambers because I think it's useful for both members of the bar and the legal, or the solicitor side of the legal profession. It's practical, comprehensive and up-to-date, and it examines in detail the legal structure of consumer credit and indeed the full spectrum of credit issues, very important of course at the moment, including this directive, which I think one needs to have a little bit of an understanding in some detail of, as that's coming in at the moment. There are of course on the CD-ROM agreements, notices, particulars of claim and defences, all of which will be very helpful to you and your firm. Let me just conclude by saying that obviously if you have a requirement for further research, there are the much more detailed publications, but I think this is a very good starting off point with its use of tables, of cases, statutes and so forth. So advocates as well as judges would love this book in our view because it gives sort of information which perhaps compliance and collection managers would also find of some help when they're involved in the consumer credit process. I warmly welcome it, and I'd like to thank Mr. Kelsall and the Law Society and Law Society Publishing for an excellent new book for our bookshelves. Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye.